Did you watch the Game Awards? Because if you didn't, then you missed out on a hell of a fun thing. You missed out on how Jeff Nealon was clearly taking Kojima's side in that thing. You missed out on the fact that that girl from her story actually fucked up, or at least the person that gave her the award fucked up. You missed the fact that we got a whole bunch of trailer reveals that nobody gave a fuck about. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards. Have you seen them? Probably not. If you have, go watch them and then watch this video. Or just watch this video. Stay tuned. I got something for you. Because for one, let's talk about it right now. Now, there's a couple of things on the show that was actually good. There's a couple of things on the show that was terrible. And there's a couple of things on the show that actually was just boring. Now, granted, the show said it was going to start at 8:30. It's a live streaming. I get that. These type of things don't really go as well as planned. So because I had school, right? I had to rush here, and I tried to get back in time, and then, I was taking a test or whatever, but that's not the point. I get here on time. I get here before 8:30. What happens? The Game Awards is coming on. I'm like, Jeff Nealon's going to wrap this shit up at 10:30? Fan-freaking-tastic. And I was like, yeah, you go, Neely, you go. But what happens? The show starts at 9 because it's a pre-show. Great. Now, granted, the pre-show was not a bad thing. It was good to kind of give you a little bit of a thing, telling you about what kind of happened in this year. But then while you're watching this year, you realize that, shit. And I just looked up look up 2015 in gaming. And you realize that this was worse, I feel like, than 2014 when it came to gaming. Because for some reason, I feel as if not that many games in this year were really good. Because I feel like, this is my honest opinion, I feel like September to now is the only time, only games that really got cared for in this Game Awards. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's just saying how sloppy this game year has actually been. Now, I played some games. I enjoyed some. But for the most part, they were quite forgettable and quite terrible at that. They're buggy, they're glitchy, they're messy, they're sloppy, they're delayed. What's the deal? Who knows? But let's talk about some awards, right? Best Family Shooter. Actually, no. Best Family Game. But at the same time, I guess it's the same thing, I guess. But Super Mario Maker wins Best Family Game. Anybody expecting anything different? It's Mario. There's nothing to it. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't think anybody had a problem with it. Best Shooter went to Splatoon. I never played it. I hear good things. It splats around a lot. But that's not the point. Some good things, like I said, I have notes. So I say this all the time. I have notes, and usually I don't look at them. But it's a lot of stuff to take in to just read the winners. So bear with me if I'm looking down. Now, a couple other things. We got some trailer announcements. Now, some great things was a great trailer announcement we got was Batman. That's right, Telltale Games. This is the thing that really got me excited. I was just like, what is this? Like, this actually got me interested. They said Billionaire Playboy. I was like, okay, now I'm interested. I'm ready to go. I'm revved up. So they tell it's Batman, Telltale Games. Can you imagine that? Because I was saying this when Arkham Knight was coming out to some people. I was like, well, what if Batman was actually like an RPG where you can have choices and you can actually make the decisions that Batman actually has to make on a day-to-day basis? That would have been badass. You can upgrade your suit. You can change your suit. You got a water suit. You got a flying suit. You can switch up your car. You could, change your car. You could design it any way you want. That would have actually been perfect. And now, granted, I don't know if we're going to be getting that, but you can still do the choices. And that is actually the main key. To me, I like games. Those are some of my favorite games when you can actually choose choices. Now, that was a great announcement, and I'm looking forward to that. And that already is probably my top 10 list of 2016. That was my most anticipated, Because I'm right now, give or take, that's probably like, if I had to put in a number, it'd be like Andromeda, Uncharted 4, bam, Telltale. If I had to put it, just thinking out there. But that was a great announcement. We also got another thing for the Walking Dead. We got Telltale's game about Michonne. Now, to my opinion on this thing is that I don't care. Now, granted, I didn't play season 2. I played season 1. I love season 1. I didn't really care for season 2. I didn't really care to play for Clementine. I feel like that should have just ended. I know it's great, and I heard it's critically acclaimed, and that's great. That's all. That's dandy. 2 thumbs up. But my opinion on this thing is, if I'm going to butcher her name, if Danai Gurira, maybe I actually said that right, Danai Gurira, she plays Michonne on the show. If she's doing the voice, which it didn't sound like it, slightly might have, but if she's not doing the voice, then I really don't care. But if she is doing a voice, that's enough to actually make me want to buy this thing. Like, I know it's 3 episodes and it's quite cheap, and it better be cheap. It better not be a full price, like 5 episode deal, even though it's 3 episodes. I'm just saying like that. But if she's doing a voice, then fantastic. I'll actually might, check it out. But other than that, I don't really care for it. If this is going to be the thing where they kind of talk about, the spin-off prequels, I like to see one of Daryl, but only if Norman Reese is doing a voice. And you better get Michael Rooker. Now that'll sell tickets and, crossbows. But that's not the point. There's a couple of things we also got. We got, I didn't mind on this show where we got a couple of look at the indie games. That was fine in there. I'm not a big indie guy. I play a couple of here and there when I can, but for the most part, I gotta use my time and money on something that I know I may get my money's worth. If anybody understands what I mean, the thing is, $60 is a lot of money, but that's the thing. When people say $60, it's not really even 60. It's 65. But that's not the point of this. But yeah, that back to some of the awards. Best multiplayer game. Yeah, I'm going to be looking down here. Well, actually, I didn't write best multiplayer, but Rocket League won the best sports/racing game. I keep hearing a lot about Rocket League. I never played it. It looks fun. It looks like Twisted Metal mixed with FIFA, from what I hear. That, I guess, is a great thing. So, I guess props to them. None of the categories I really played. I didn't play too many games this year. Not any new ones. I played more older games. But, hey, I guess that just says 2015 a game, right? The best shooter, as I said, went to Splatoon. The best action adventure game went to Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, here's my thing. I haven't said anything on this in probably any of the videos, but to me, I like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3. Haven't played 4. I'm on my way to playing 4. I did not really care for 5. Now, here's my thing. The trailers hyped you up. The tone hyped you up. The hype was real. The story surrounding Kojima's Final Departure game, that shit was hyping you up. Because you wanted to really stick it to the man, and the man was Konami. You wanted to stick it to them. But at the end, I think Konami actually stuck it to all of us, because they cut that shit in half. You didn't get most of the story. This thing was just, to me, I thought the damn thing was repetitive. People complain about Mad Max, but to me, I ain't got my money's worth of Mad Max than Metal Gear Solid 5. To me, I would have almost put Mad Max in the damn thing. Hell, I would have even thrown Just Cause in there. But that's just me. Hey. But yeah, I guess congratulations to Metal Gear Solid 5. I guess they deserved it. Neely wanted to just stick it to Konami because I guess he likes Kojima. Hey, we all do, right? The best fighting game, Mortal Kombat X. Now, here's my problem with this show. I did not exactly like when they kind of just did to the side these awards. They just like, boop, boop, here's the pop-up. Mortal Kombat X wins. I was just like, wait a minute, wait just a goddamn minute. You just throwing this out there? I feel like this could have actually been a big deal. Don't put, esports player on an actual award. Here's the thing. I got no problem with no esports player, but for the same thing, you got to realize like this, right? Wouldn't Mortal Kombat X best fighting game mean more than esports? Couldn't you just put that to the side? I'm just saying. Neely said he was going to make the show tight, right? And he was going to make it really tight. But this show went from 9 o'clock to 11:35. That's like 2 hours and 35 minutes. And it was with the pre-show. If you took out the pre-show, why do we need the pre-show? Put the pre-show at 8. And then this could have went on for like 10:30. He made this thing go way too long. Was this show a bit more tighter and paced out? Yes. For like the first hour and a half maybe. And then it just went like, because I was falling asleep. It was starting to get very boring, and that's the problem with like E3 when they started to throw these indie games out there. It was just like, and then they're talking about like all this stuff you can do with YouTube and whatnot. I was like, yeah, blah 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 blah. They just keep talking that chopsticks, talking them chopsticks. Trending Gamer of the Year goes to Greg Miller. Now, granted, I'm not a big fan of any of those people in the category, but I do like Greg Miller. Some people give him a hard time, some people don't. I liked his speech. His speech was inspiring. His speech stuck to those people that like to stick it to gamers. But I say this. Thank you, Greg Miller. You had a nice speech. I like Greg Miller. He seemed like he was actually one of the main focus points of IGN. Some people liked him, some people didn't. But hey, when he left, IGN kind of lost something. I don't like the Andrew Garfield guy over there. I'll take Greg Miller. Yeah, some other positives of the show was the world premieres. They were kind of a letdown. A lot of these world premieres were either something I didn't care for, like Shadow Complex Remastered. Stop the remasters. Don't go backwards. Make them Shadow Complex 2 or something. Don't get me wrong. Some games can be remastered if they were shitty in the past, and then you want to do this, but don't do that here, or either that or just give it free. Like Just Cause 2, right? You can have a free download with Just Cause 3. Do that. Give a free download, and then you can play it on a new system. Don't make people waste like $40, $30. That's just a waste of time and money, and you're just ripping people off. Do something new. Go forward. Don't go backwards. Forward, not backwards. You understand? Thank you. Applaud me if you think so. Churches, the performances. I enjoy the Nintendo Reggie's tribute to the Nintendo president. I know his name. I'm just not going to pronounce it because I'm going to butcher the guy, and he's passed, so I don't want to say that. So I say the former Nintendo president. He was that was a fantastic tribute. The guy on the piano, he was great. Churches seemed like it was a little bit out of tune, but it was a great song, and I just like rewatched it and listened to it. I was like, that was a great song. But this girl either was out of tune or maybe it was my stream or whatever it was. But let me know if you think she was out of tune. Also, that was Far Cry Primal. Anyone? Bueller, don't care. Anybody else care? But I will say this about Far Cry Primal. I was telling somebody this where I was like, if they're going to do with the caveman thing, if they're going to do prehistoric time, do not make them speak English. Make them actually come up with an actual language and therefore come up with a subtitle. It may work, it may not work, but they actually went for the go, and that's got me slightly interested. But for the trailer, sell it, throw it away, burn it, who cares? Psychonauts 2 got announced. No one? Well, maybe some people. But don't worry, we got something even more. One, Psychonauts 2 gets announced. Tim Schafer's back. He's starting something again. I guess Kickstarter kicked him out because how much times he's been overdoing his money prices. I'm surprised anybody even going with this guy. Get out your head. This guy's taking money. Now, granted, he may give the deal. He says now everybody gets more than just a t-shirt. That's great. If Tim Schafer's your guy, that's your guy. His last game I didn't hear anything about. But, hey, Psychonauts, I hear a lot of underrated things about it. But, hey, it wouldn't be my first choice. It's no Shenmue 3. But then we get the real kicker. This is the thing that really kind of got me annoyed. Because then we get Shaq Fu. We got Shaq presenting. That's great. Shaq here, we know he's a big gamer, literally. He's like 7 feet tall. He comes out. He's got Shaq Fu. Shaq who? Shaq Fu. Shaq Fu 2. Legend Reborn. That's right, Shaq 2. No one wanted it at all in the world, but apparently people did because I think it was crowdfunded, so people wanted it. Why? I don't know. But I will say this. I think it's great that we live in a world where Beyond Good and Evil 2 can't come out. The Getaway 3 can't come out. Hell, The Last Guardian hasn't even fucking came out yet, but Shaq 2 is coming out before it. Thanks. So good. Anyways, didn't care for Shaq Fu 2, Legend Reborn. Stupid, waste of time. Yeah, most of these world premiere trailers, they were really nothing, quite frankly. But yeah, I thought the Rock Band commercial was quite funny. I thought that was great. I thought it was hysterical. Sometimes, it kind of dragged a little bit, but whatever it was. The virtual reality thing, I'm not completely sold on. They showed a couple of bits of that. Didn't really care for it. Whatever. What else? I'm trying to think of what else was here. Oh, yeah, right. The Shameless Battlefront plugging. And I get it. Star Wars is coming out, and that's the advertisements. Mark Hamill was there, and some people probably thought he was going to win, but he didn't, whatever. So Mark Hamill is there, whatever. But anyways, they have this backstage thing, right? Justine, which I've seen her on a couple of YouTube things or whatever. She's doing her thing, and then there's everybody's talking about who's their favorite hero. They're like, Vader. I was like, if I hear Vader for the third fucking time, I'm just going to lose it. But then they said Vader, and then I literally lost it. I shut it off. I fell asleep, I think, after that. Now, when they kept on showing the Battlefront thing, it was like, well, it's so great. But like, why do we have to show this? You can't put Mortal Kombat X. Now, I'm not complaining about Mortal Kombat X, but you can't put Mortal Kombat X on the show, but you have time to plug Battlefront. Thanks. EA is great, Neely. But yeah, I didn't really care for the plugging for that. That was okay. The guy that was giving her the toy, she looked like she didn't even want the damn toy, Justine, or whatever it was. That was, yeah. I'd like to see him keep selling. All I hear is boss. Because the thing was, when he first came, the first thing I was like, I guess he got the waiting time, boss. Age hasn't slowed him down one bit. But yeah, there was, a couple of good things. This show started to drag, though. It really did. The first hour and a half was great, and then it just went kind of downhill. It got boring. By the time, Deadmau5, which I really didn't care for, by the time that dude came on, I was just completely done. But I'm just going to quickly, also, the chick from Her Story, she won. She was great and whatnot. I have to check that out. But also, Jeff Neely, his jab at Kojima, I felt like he was going to make Metal Gear Solid 5 actually win, but then Konami said he couldn't be there because of a lawsuit and whatnot, so Kira accepted it, so therefore he had to stick it to Konami for not making him win. That's what I thought. But quickly, I'm going to read off some of these winners real quick, so I'm going to be looking at notes. The game of the year was The Witcher. I enjoyed it. I feel like The Witcher was the only one that did in this year, which was not the one. It was the only game this year that really didn't have any backlash against it, really. Or if it was very small compared to like Fallout or whatever. Developer of the year, CD Projekt Red, they deserved it. Indie game, Rocket League, mobile, Lovecraft Go, narrative, Her Story, best performance. The chick Viva from Her Story, Games for Change, Life is Strange, Shooter, Splatoon, Action, Metal Gear Solid 5, Fighting, Mortal Kombat X, Family, Super Mario Maker, Racing, Rocket League, Most Anticipated Game, No Man's Sky. I say fuck off. No Man's Sky is only anticipated because people want to see if it's going to be a bust or that shit is just going to just go massive in the gaming world. But right now, I got my money on bust. That shit, we haven't seen anything. Yarny got a better chance. Yeah, and as I said, Training Game of the Year, Greg Miller. Now, this was a pretty solid show, but for the most part, it went on too long. Just probably like this review. Sorry if it went too long, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But yeah, this has been my review of the Game Awards. Now, what do I think compared to this year, compared to last year? I think Jeff Neely kind of worked this around more better than last year, but at the same time, he pretty much needs to work on the pacing. He lied. That shit was 2:35 plus the pre-show, man. Get rid of the pre-show. We didn't need that shit, or at least put that at 8 o'clock or 7:30. Then you air your show. Then end it. Didn't care for Deadmau5. Church was good, but out of tune. Awards was well. Shitty, trailers. Did not care for Shaq Fu.